All right, Alex asks, do you see a conflict between the fasting and abstinence in the Exodus 90 program and feasting during the Christmas season and on Sundays? I'm doing my first Exodus on January 1st. I'm curious about that. Well, first, Alex, welcome. Welcome to your first Exodus. We're excited to have you journey with us and tens of thousands of men around the world. But guys, this is actually a common question, and one I think Jared, you actually just wrote
Mhm.
about recently. So I think unpacking that a little bit would be incredible. Jared, toss it to you first.
Yeah, well, first of all, we don't fast if it's a solemn feast day, right? So Exodus 90 starts on a Monday, and we fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. So we're not starting with fasting on January 1st. And there are days such as the presentation February 2nd that is a Friday, right? So we're lifting the fasting for that day. Now, beyond the solemn feast days and their celebration, there is a long history of even having abstinence from meat on Sundays. So during Lent, the tradition until recently was always to abstain from all animal products, not even just meat, on every single day of Lent, including Sundays. The only thing that was lifted on Sundays was fasting until dinner. So there is a history of that. St. Francis of Assisi, for instance, even began St. Michael's Lent and his fast on the Feast of the Assumption. So we're actually looking at it from this perspective that the octave day of the Nativity, which is the circumcision of our Lord, the first day in which he shed blood for us, that this is a great day to start Exodus 90 because it characterizes the whole search for freedom, that Christ came for us to die for our freedom. So the incarnation actually is what's going to launch us into this 90-day journey to Easter. So there's something very fitting about that, really bookending, Christmas all the way to Easter.
I just jump in and say, Alex, that this wasn't always the case. Like we weren't incorporating the solemnities and big feasts in the early days, and that was really a bandwidth issue. But this is also one of the ways as a team we've learned. This was feedback I got in 2018 when the Exodus started on January 1st. And I was like, gosh, that is really good. Like that is really good feedback. We can be better in this regard. And that's something we've worked towards very intentionally over the past year. And you'll experience that in full this year. Starting on the first, really even starting in the days leading up to the first, you'll see that in a new way. And I would just say for guys that are very intentionally following the liturgical calendar, huge affirmation to you. I think what's important is to take a step back and to realize that that is true. I mean, if we were to take a look at the percentage of active Catholic men that were doing that, it probably rounds to like 0 or 1%. So, I think it's also important for us to remember that Exodus is, touching men much more broadly than the very engaged guys. And we're doing the best that we can do to, again, be this bridge back to the church and also to introduce men into the eternal and cosmic and beautiful cycle of the liturgical calendar very intentionally.